When we think about why implementation projects stall out or just feel slow to the entrepreneur, what role does organizational inertia play in all that?
So there's a phrase I'm fond of using, and that is the easiest thing to do during change is nothing. So, if I go to my daughter and say, listen, I need you to clean up your room. I need you to keep it clean. The easiest thing for her to do is nothing. Just, all right, I'll just ignore dad. Well, then what? Well, now I need consequences in place, right? And
right.
Who wants to give out consequences? A lot of us are conflict avoiders. So the very sense of I'm going to have to roll something out, and we know there's going to be some level of resistance. People will hesitate, and now I got to deal with that on top of this business that I'm running. That can be extremely daunting. So we'll set aside all of the other things like technical problems that happen, which tend to slow down and delay projects. But when we look at the people side of things, that creates legitimate hesitation in leaders of having to deal with some of those issues they haven't had to deal with before.
In the interest of just like flushing out a nuanced understanding of the problem here, I want to chuck out a few more things that just come to my mind when I think about why this is challenging. Here's one. Do you think entrepreneurs frequently underestimate the complexity of the systems they're trying to implement?
I think they do. So as business owners, we have been thinking about solving problems for a long time. We see where the problems are and go, okay, well, I've got this option and that option over time. Okay, it's probably option B I need to go forward with. Our employees see none of that. So when the announcement gets made, this is where we're going. This is the vision. We're going there. It can be surprising, a bit shocking, even if we knew, there were issues, but, okay. So it feels a bit abrupt. And this is the start of the adaptation process for people. They're starting to, it's sinking in. I'm getting familiar with it. I'm developing a level of comfort. And note that we all recognize some people adapt faster than others. But leaders don't often think about that. The focus is, I've got a target, I got a vision. We need to go there. Follow me. Mm-hmm. Why won't they come? But there's lots of reasons why they don't automatically get in line and go. And I think that that's a challenge. And most leaders don't recognize this. We've got a strategy. Good. We know where we're going. Good. Let's go. Step 1 through 10 and we'll arrive. But it's not that simple when it comes to people.
We have this saying at BTA. It's kind of, I don't think we invented it. I think we stole it. But it's like, everything in business costs 3 times as much and takes twice as long. And it's been very true and very humbling. I mean, we've been migrating over from Infusionsoft to Zoho, and I think we thought at the time it was going to be 18 months. We'd hire a developer. We'd do marketing first, sales second, fulfillment third, and boom, it's going to be done. Everything, and it's been like 2 and a bit years. I think we're approaching the 3-year mark, right. And there's been moments of real frustration. There's been a few breakthroughs along the way as well. But I just think, I can admit we probably thought this would be simpler than it actually was. And when you look at especially more like sophisticated systems or structures that need to be put in place in business, I think people's eyes are bigger than their stomach at times. The other thing too that comes to mind as well is just business is chaotic, and blue collar businesses are especially chaotic. So you might have something that you kind of write up on the whiteboard in January, and then by April, it's basically in the bin because the business environment has changed. A key player has exited your business really unexpectedly. Right. A whole host of other things. And so there's things that can and will veer you off course. External factors that will veer you off course very easily too. Right, Jeff?
Absolutely true. I refer to SOS, shiny object syndrome. This is another thing that something came up. Oh, that's really attractive. I think we could get that done quickly. So we pursue it, and then, it's not that quick. And I set out these strategic priorities, and your employees are going, which way is it, right? Mm-hmm. We said we were going to focus on these things at the beginning of the year, and now all these disruptions occur. And we're not getting it done. I think it sends a very bad message to the employee team.
Well, and if you've sort of lived organizational life for any time at all. If you're an employee listening to this, you work on a small team, you no doubt are aware of the graveyard of abandoned ideas that kind of sits behind the owner or the entrepreneur of your business. Like there's more of those than there are actually accomplished ones and things that made it across the business, the finish line. And that's right. Kind of depressing, but it is really interesting. One thing, the other thing too, I think, and I think we'll get into maybe some solutions around this too later, is just this concept of resistance from within, kind of going back to your comment about easiest thing to do when confronted with change is nothing. But a lot of the times you're battling against people's habits, I'm talking about your employees, your employees' habits, their mindsets, their ways of doing things, their reluctance to change, whatever, their tech aversion, whatever the case may be. And I think that's an obstacle in all this too.
Yeah, 100%. There are so many things as leaders we can do to help people along the way, but we have to recognize, and this gets missed easily, all of us carry so much baggage. Some is now positive, right? But the way we are raised, the values we have, what we see as threatening, all these things have a big impact on whether we're likely to embrace the change today that you're putting in front of me. Physical issues, didn't get enough sleep. There are things I'm dealing with at home. I've got aging parents. We have a certain level of a certain capacity for change. And think of it like a battery. It gets depleted often during the day. At the end of the day, I'm tired. I go to sit in front of the TV and you just, right? You're out of gas. When you're feeling that and someone says, hey, can you make a decision about X? I mean, how many times have I said to my wife, just you decide. I don't have it in me. It's gone. And this happens at work too. There's so much going on that, now I got to stop and learn how to do this and focus on it.
Right.
That absorbs a lot of energy that honestly I need for other stuff as well, whether it's personally or just doing my regular job. So it's a real factor that resistance is going to occur. And Benji, I got to be clear, we cannot assume that it's because people don't want to do it. There's a continuum here of I've got folks who just not clear, like, what is it we're trying to accomplish? I didn't get it the first time. Repetition is extremely important when we're rolling out change. Or I'm lacking the skills. I haven't yet developed, what I need in order to do this properly. And then finally, we can look at folks who just, I'm not interested, or I don't like you, or for some reason, I don't like this solution, this change. So I'm just not going to do it. The entrenched individuals. But
the resistance,
not all resistance is bad.
The resistance from within thing is probably an easy scapegoat when you're kind of telling yourself this story. This didn't work because the team didn't do it. I couldn't get time tracking done because Ray won't get an iPhone. Like I think there's more to this than that. Listen, if you like that clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here. If you're not yet subscribed, you probably should be, and you can do that by clicking right here.